Guten Morgen, brothers and sisters. I was almost going to say in Russian. Guten Morgen, bratья и сестры. But good to see you. Actually, I'm the person introducing. I'm the husband of Renee Corley, by the way. She will give a talk about her experiences, especially here in Austria, because her mother is Austrian, and she joined the church in Austria, in Vienna, in 1973. And so she will talk a little bit about that experience also. So it's like, in a way, in 73 she joined here, and now she's saying farewell here, 52 or almost 53 years later. So over to Renee.
Danke. Very good introduction. Let's give that young man a hand. Vor ungefähr ein Jahr, meine geistige Mutter ist gestorben, in die geistige Welt gewesen. Und ich wurde eingeladen, bei Begräbnis etwas zu sagen. Und die Elisabeth hat gesagt, die Renee wird auf Englisch sprechen und ich werde übersetzen. Und dann fange ich an zu reden und dann war Sprach und Sprach. Und nach einem Satz oder zwei habe ich erkannt, ich rede auf Deutsch. Was? Und ohne etwas sogar zu wissen. Und das war, ich war sehr überrascht. Also vor 52 Jahren bin ich in die Vereinigungskirche gekommen. Damals habe ich ganz gut Deutsch gesprochen. Jetzt ist schon 50 Jahre später und wenig gut. Ich habe viel vergessen. Also, sorry. Okay, sorry. Thanks. Danke. Also, okay. Also, vielleicht kommen manche von diesen Gesichtern bekannt. Diese am links, das ist mein erstes Workshop. Brigitte, du bist da. Ja, du kennst? Ja, die Brigitte Schawala und viele. Ich bin da am rechts, da unten rechts und der Hans Rechberger und der Franz, Johann Schönauer und Maria Riel und Julia Mittermüller und meine geistige Mutter Brigitte Plöchel und manche andere. Und mein Schwager, Trager, ist da oben, Mitte oben. Und ihr siehst meine geistige Mutter, Brigitte, und in die Schlüsselgasse bin ich gekommen. Da ist die Schlüsselgasse Center. Und I better start speaking in English, so it's too difficult. And there I'm sitting at the Holy Ground in 1973. And okay, in January 1974, we heard that True Parents are coming to England, and all the European members and leaders should come also to England, if possible. Maybe not all, but so were some of you there? Yes. Yeah. So 1974, I was in the bus, and we drove from Vienna to England, and there's some of the people, and the farmhouse in England, Reading Row Lane Farmhouse. Here are some more photographs of people. some of them not here anymore, and there's my spiritual mother again, Brigitte, and my friend Hilda Wieman is in the other photograph, Hilda Reinhold. Maybe you know some, there's Christian Zwerger and Klaus Riedel and Hilda Wieman and Manfred Hauser und so manche, ich kenne die Namen noch nicht. Und Franz Derkom ist auch da, Franz. Das ist die Küche in Schlüsselgasse. Das, ich bin mit meiner Freundin Hilda Wieman, Hilda Reinhold, und manche Fotos von Familie Koch. Und Fritz und Christian und Johann Hoffmann und meine geistige Tochter Melita und Sieglinde, Melita und Karl Ebinger und Lisa Moser, Franz und Egon Klein und Peter Zörer und Helge Giele und Beutel, ein Georg? Ein Beutel. Und dann endlich, you remember in the 1973-74, the European leaders sent many members to America, but then finally the Austrian members could not come anymore to America. They didn't receive visas. So then Peter Koch said, Renee, you're American, so you can go to America, you don't need a visa. So then in June of 1974, then I returned. This is at the train station, Westbahnhof. And yes, I see many people there also. Yeah. Okay, so that's my story. 10 months in Vienna in the Unification Church. And anyway, just to conclude, I want to say I was very moved singing that last song, the lyric, wherever we are in the world, we're all in one embrace. So it's very wonderful feeling. So anyway, I hope that these photographs brought some pleasure, some joy to some of you. Maybe you remember some people whom you knew. And so now anyway, we're leaving. We wanted to come to Vienna one more time because I have some family here. So we wanted to meet them. And last night we went with our sister Marion to visit them. And it was, I think, very good meeting. And then, excuse me. But also we wanted one more time to come here and meet many of our friends from Vienna, and whom I knew from the past, and just to say thank you. You know, you're still here. Sometimes we think we didn't do too much, but maybe we did do something, and you know, it had an influence on somebody. I remember a few years ago, I went to a Sunday service. The daughter of True Parents, Ingenim, was giving a sermon, and she was thanking the American members because she said, without you, True Parents might have died. And I didn't really understand that exactly. Maybe we made some conditions to protect True Parents, and maybe just our hard work gave them some protection. But anyway, even that moved me so much at that time. So anyway, thank you very much. Now I will introduce my husband, Jack Corley.
So, oh, okay. So this is the. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, again, it's good to see you. And I'm also, like Renee, very happy to have one more chance to come here and to meet you. My sister Marion is somewhere there. Marion, can you stand up? My sister. She's, one of 3 members of our family who are in the church and blessed. our brother, younger brother, is in New York. He's been the pastor in Long Island community for almost 30 years. Right now, he's actually in a hospital recovering. He had a stroke, a second stroke. And his wife, Japanese wife, she passed away after they were 20 years of marriage. And they have one daughter. So anyway, when I was talking with Elizabeth about, I had heard that Brigitte, right? Shavala, you should be here. So are you upset that you were kicked out and then I was put in? Apologies for kicking you out of your sermon space. So anyway, when we were talking about what I should do, then Elizabeth suggested, maybe you could give your testimony or something, But I didn't want to keep you the whole day, because you'd be here till this evening, and we'd come back after dinner and have another hour. So I thought I should really make it short, because otherwise you never want me back again. So, but in any case, I was just happy to have the chance to just come here and see old friends. Is Peter Ladstetter here with us? I'll meet him. We'll be meeting him tomorrow morning in any case. But he's also one special Austrian brother. There was an underground missionary in the Soviet Union. And we worked together many years in Moscow. And then we had to set up our church legally and defend ourselves in many court cases. We were attacked in so many court cases. We won them all. And I even won a court case in the European Court of Human Rights against the Russian government. So, because they deported me illegally, actually, from Russia and banned me for 5 years in 2006. But then welcomed me back 11 years later, and no problem, even though they know me, the authorities know me there. But I'm grateful for Peter Ladstetter because he did great work there and speaks fluent Russian, and also Monica Kunde, I think some of you know her, and her husband Karl Heinz. So, we have so many precious brothers and sisters to be grateful for. But none of this would be possible without true parents and the principle. The only reason we're here is because we were witnessed by somebody to the truth through principle. And Renee didn't share the story of how she was met by Brigitte, but Brigitte was a very good witnesser. She never forgot you. Once she got you, she would, and so Renee, for the 50 years before she passed away, every year, several times, she was sending her cards and greetings, But I'll tell the story because I think it's a beautiful story. Renee was witnessed to several times by Brigitte. She happened to bump into her because she was always out there. And Renee wasn't really interested in whatever it was she was trying to sell. And so she would promise, okay, I'll come, but knowing she was not going to come. And then one evening, to make a long story short, she came back to her apartment. Renee was living in Vienna, working with an American company. And then she came back to her apartment, and who was there in front of her apartment? Brigitte. She thought she had escaped her, but no, Brigitte would not let you go. And then she was so puzzled, because Renee had given her address, thinking she will send some mail or something, but actually Brigitte lost that address. Somehow she put it in her pocket and then maybe just fell out or something. But she didn't give up. And that's what the amazing part of the story is. Even though she lost the address of Renee, she didn't stop trying to find her. La Salstrasse, La Salstrasse, which leads out, I think, to the UN city, or what do you call it, right? She knew, Renee had mentioned to her, and she had remembered, that she was living on La Salstrasse, but she didn't have a number or anything. So she went door to door on the Salstrasse. Is there an American lady living here? Nope, 9. And on and on and on. And finally she thought, well, how can I find her? She went to the police. And she asked, have you, an American woman, registered here on La Charlestrasse? And they looked up. Probably wasn't legal what they were doing because they weren't supposed to give information. And they found Renee's name. So she ended up on her door. So think about that next time you go witnessing, right? Brigitte set a tradition here in Austria, I believe, you know. And she was spiritually open, and as the later years went by, you know, her mental situation declined, but her heart was pure gold. So I wanted to tell this story because that's what Mother is asking us now to do, is to reach out and to witness and to try to bring people back to God and true parents through the principle. And so that's what brings us all together. We would have no reason to be meeting like this without that. So I want to talk a little bit about the time we're in right now. And so I titled the sermon, Welcoming the Golden Age, right? You've heard Mother speaking about that, right? And it's she talks about it so confidently. And I know that when Father passed away and Mother began to refer to herself as God's only begotten daughter, I think many of us older members, it took a little adjustment because we never heard that expression before. We had, of course, assumed, you know, Father's the Messiah, he's raising up true Mother, but we never really heard so much about the concept of an only begotten daughter. And so it took a little while, which is understandable. We're not used to that terminology. And we had to understand, what does it actually mean? And then as Mother spoke more and more about her position, her role, the preparation of Korea for her coming, then, of course, a lot of things came that were very new to our common understanding about true parents. And I think it's really important that we all really come to understand that. There were several things before then that I personally had questions about. For example, Father, as you know, was married before. What if his earlier marriage had, you know, succeeded, and then what would the role of Mother have been? Were there several women prepared for that role? So there was a lot of unclarity in a way about it. Another issue for me, even before this, was Father was not born into a Christian family. If he's the Messiah, completing the mission of Jesus, shouldn't he be Christian? Shouldn't he have a very strong Christian lineage? And the answer is he didn't. Also, if you look at Mother's lineage, it's a very different situation. And you have a very strong Christian lineage in true Mother's several generations back. And of course it's through Daemonim that the providence of Chunpyong and all these events have been taking place while Father was still alive and supporting all that. And there were many questions like this that were to me not answered. And then also, if Father was in the position of the only begotten Son, shouldn't Father have been aware of that from a very young age? Jesus was aware of it when he was 12 years old. He was in the temple speaking to the priests, right? Mother said she, from a very young age, was aware that she was God's daughter, and she considered God as her real father. Her physical father had left, right? So she considered God as her real father. And so there are many things that, you know, now that in retrospect, when I look back, I can see, this now clarifies many things. And also another point which I think is important is, if Father was born as only begotten Son, then why would Jesus have to appear to him and ask him 3 times, would you continue this mission? Why would it be necessary if he already understood who he is? And so these kind of questions, you know, have created, as you well know, many controversies actually in our movement. But I think when we look at the situation objectively and prayerfully, we can understand really who is true Mother. And True Mother had to take up, in a way, officially that position with the passing of True Father. True Mother talked about the wilderness years, the 52 years of wilderness. She's not in that way criticizing Father or anything, but for her, for sure, you can imagine it was not easy. And then she had to, in a way, catch up in so many things after Father's passing and establish certain foundations, which she did. And the greatest thing, of course, was when she entered the palace in April of last year. And so I think it's really important in this time that we really have a profound understanding of the role of True Mother, and then work with that foundation and connect to True Mother. And that's why the Chunbo providence actually is so important. I feel, if I'm honest, I feel that the Chunbo providence is saving our movement. I think that the spirit of what they're doing, the ancestor liberation, blessing, all the programs, all the events, is bringing about a great blessing to us. And it's helping us to awaken to the reality that we're about to enter this golden age. Now, people, like Jesus said many times, you have eyes to see, but you do not see. You have ears to hear, but you do not hear. In other words, how much are we really seeing the time in which we are now alive? And if we understand it, we will be absolutely, on fire. And this is the year of the red horse, right? The Chinese sign, is it the fiery horse or the red horse? Anyway, this is the quotation, the Hunduk reading that was read earlier. And I think this was spoken in August of last year. True Mother was, in a way, repeating much of what she had said during the entrance ceremony. And she actually brought this again as a reminder. And I'm sure that, for many of us, we watched True Mother, and by the way, Renee and myself were very blessed, and I think maybe Elizabeth, were you there also in the sanctum? Yeah. So it was a great privilege to watch True Mother walking in with her two grandsons, and then making the proclamation, that now the gates of Chunilguk are opened. And this is the time when God can work substantially on the earth. If you're wondering about the chaos in the world, that's God at work, believe it or not. He's kicking Satan's butt with love, but sorting him out. And so he's going to turn this world around. That's what's going on. So a lot of the confusion, a lot of the seeming chaos looks very worrisome, and people wondering, what is going on? It's like everything is breaking down. If you think about some of the theories that are being proposed, and this is going on for several years already, a man can be a woman can be a man, you can transgender yourself. That's going to the very core of the universe, is the dual characteristics, right? So Satan knows what's important. So whatever Satan is attacking, that's, where God is also. And so this is the time like never before when Satan's world is desperately clinging on, trying to, protect themselves. But they're winning in a losing battle, because on the other side there's a new reformation or a new sort of spiritual force moving people. And I think we'll see leadership appearing on all fields, which will actually be a part of this golden age. It'll take more than our movement to change this world. But because of the foundation that true parents have in the spirit world, they will raise up people who will truly bring about changes in the world. And so it's a time of great tension. You could consider this is like a time, in a way, like the dark night before the bright morning. So if we connect to the spirit of True Mother, we will understand that. Our eyes will be open, and we will surely understand that. And this is the most incredible time to be alive. And I want to speak a little bit about what True Mother said here. If I may, I can look around. So for the first time in 6,000 years, actually it was much longer than that. Father said something like the fall of man, or Adam and Eve, existed maybe 2 million years ago. So we don't know. This is a biblical counting. But how long has God waited since he finally reached the pinnacle of his creation to solve the problem of the fall? And how blessed are we to live at this time, know what's going on, and be partners with True Mother, True Parents, in achieving the final goal. So we will live to see the day of victory. So we should have this kind of, spirit. There's a Negro spiritual song, which our one elder sister, maybe some of you know her, she's now in spirit world, Barbara Burroughs, or Barbara Van Prague, a black sister from South America. She used to sing a really beautiful song, and the words were, "I said I wasn't going to testify, but I couldn't keep it to myself." Right? How much do we feel that? We want to testify. We're bursting to tell people, and that's what Mother wants us to catch, that spirit. And Renee and I have been watching pretty much every day during the daytime the vigil prayer. Now that we're retired, we have a little more time, so we've been watching and listening to testimonies. And we are seeing the resurrection of our second and third generations in Korea and Japan. They're coming to Cheongpyeong. They're discovering the principle. They're discovering, we think just they're second generation, they must understand. But not so. And they're struggling with the world. And now we're seeing some of them who have gone really way down the wrong path. They're turning around and they're coming back. And it's one of the most moving things about the vigil prayers each day, is that we hear these testimonies of people. It's really, they have been discovering God. Because they didn't make a choice to be part of our church. They were born into it. So they grew up seeing the imperfections of their parents and other families around them. And they felt, well, that's not very ideal sometimes. So they were not convinced by what they saw. But then, when they came under the love and care of True Mother, they were reawakened. And so Mother is really like the living Holy Spirit, bringing rebirth. If you think about it, when Jesus Christ died, right? Who was left among his followers? Nobody. Judas had sold him to his death. Peter had denied knowing him. All the others were hiding away somewhere, scared. And the only person that Jesus gave some promise to was the thief on the right who defended Jesus. He said, "This day you will be with me in paradise." Jesus never said that to Peter or any of his disciples. Even they asked one time, "Will you put me on the right side?" But Jesus never made that promise. Only to a thief who was not a follower was the one that Jesus promised, "You will be with me in paradise today." And so, but then when Jesus died, as I said, they were all ran away. They were all hiding. And what really started Christianity was the descent of the Holy Spirit. And when the Holy Spirit descended, they were awakened and they lost their fear. And they went out and they literally were ready to die, and most of them did. And so, because they caught that spirit, they understood the essence of Jesus. And I think if we now understand, likewise at this time, the essence of True Parents, we can really have that same fire. So I really want to encourage brothers and sisters here, really think deeply, pray deeply, try to understand the role of True Mother, and then catch that spirit. I mean, think about what she must have gone through in order to be able to stand where she is today spiritually. Now, physically, of course, she's in detention center. And it's such a contrast from being in the Chunil Sanctum, and then by the end of the year, she's in a small, windowless prison in Korea, being treated like a criminal, even though no court case was held when she was put in there. The rule is you're innocent until proven guilty. Seems to me that the Korean justice system doesn't work like that. They lock you up and accuse you of possibly running away or something. And so this is really, puzzling for a lot of people. And I'm sure many members struggle with this. Why After the glorious entrance, has Mother failed? I know there are people, including maybe some of our own children, sadly, who are saying, well, I told you so, she wouldn't listen to us. She's not following Father. This kind of thing. And that's why she's in prison. Actually, she's in prison for the sake of those people who are accusing her, and all of us. She might not have been in prison had we done our duties over the years. But parents take responsibility, and that's what Mother is doing. She's really paying the price. And then she herself has said, it'll take some time, but justice will be done. And we can see many things, both in Korea and actually what's going on in Korea is really from China. I've been to China more than 60 times. I know the system, how it works quite well. And they are really smart at undermining countries. And Korea is the latest victim. So I would just very straight out tell you that the president of Korea is a communist, is working for China and wants North Korean system in South Korea. We shouldn't have any illusions about that. But he himself is also a criminal. He was already indicted for criminal activity, and many of the people that are working with him are criminals. So this is a very dangerous situation, actually. And their goal is to kill Mother. We shouldn't have any illusions about that. Why? Because China knows. Mother was respected, and true parents were respected in North Korea. Mother had an open invitation to go back to North Korea from the current leader there. And the possibility of reuniting Korea can happen through True Mother. And so China does not want that. They don't want America on the border, a physical border with China. And so they want to stop the unification of Korea. But now look at what's happening in China. I don't know if you follow the news. China is also now shaking. So it's like the red dragon is now collapsing in some ways. And I think that a lot of the things that are happening are the result of God's work. So when Mother said that God is going to work substantially on this earth, was Mother just speaking with wishful thinking, or was it real? I believe it was real, because who knows God better? True Mother. And she knows what's going on. And she knows this is the time. And even though it doesn't look good right now, and the world is in great confusion, we should not lose hope. We should really keep our positive mindset. And then we will see the day of victory. So, I want to leave you with those few words, have hope. Do not lose hope. And continue to support True Mother and to pray every day for her. Now, to make a long story short, but it's still long. So this is a summary of of my life, if you like. If I were to go into any kind of detail, I'll keep you here until dinner time, for sure. So I thought I'd better put it in this format, so at least you can read it. I think most of you understand English here, so you can see that I've had a few missions here and there over the years, I come from a farm. I grew up on a farm on the west coast of South Ireland, one of 10 children, 5 boys and 5 girls. The first child, a son, passed away at the age of 2, so we never knew him. So basically we were like 9 growing up. And then we were a very, very Catholic family. This is something Austrians can relate to probably. And devout, we would pray before every meal. We went to church every Sunday. We went to baptism, confirmation, and I went to a Catholic boarding school for 5 years from the age of 13 to 18, which was run by priests. So all my teachers were priests. They were hoping I'd join them, but I did become a priest. I just didn't join the Catholic Church priesthood, which didn't make my mother too happy at the time. So anyway, actually, let me tell you, the easiest way for you to know the details, there's a really good book just came out. It's called, what is the name of our book again, Renee? Lives Worth Living. Yeah, I have to be reminded. Lives Worth Living. And it's basically our memoirs, because when we were retired in April, we were thinking, so now what? And we decided, well, Mother gave the direction for those who had served 50 years or more, and we were among those. Now you should write your autobiographies. And so then I am very lucky to be blessed with one of the founders and editors of the Washington Times, Renee. She's been 9 years there. She is a very excellent editor. So those of you planning to write your memoirs, just get her phone number, okay? And she can help you out. But so we were lucky, and I was dictating, and Renee was typing feverishly to keep up with my fast speech. And then we decided also that it's not just my testimony, my autobiography, but as a couple, we worked together. You know, once we were matched and blessed, then we're working as one. So two should be in the one book. And so therefore we have a 452-page book printed by Kando Verlag. But I have to tell you, there are only 20 left of all that were printed. So if you want to get a copy, you can go on your phone right now. Although, hang on, listen to what I'm saying. Not yet, no. The book is much better, actually. It feels good. So anyway, that's the commercial break, sorry. We decided, we want to do this and complete it. And we actually sent it to the publisher on the 31st of December. And then it was published on the 13th of January, just in time for the European leaders meeting in Prague. We didn't know there was going to be a meeting there until about a month before, actually. And so it was very good timing. So we printed 200 copies, and at the meeting, over 100 were sold to our European leaders. So that was a stroke of good luck, I would say, because otherwise I don't know how I would have gotten rid of 200 books. And we were thinking 200 maybe is too much. But now it's down to 20. So if you need to get a copy, that's where you can find all the details of this story, plus also Renee's story. Anyway, moving along. In the course of the missions, of course, I had to do a lot of traveling. So I spent much of my time, 11,000 meters in the air, traveling from place to place. And if you're quick at counting, there are 83 countries there. So of course, some of them were just very short visits. As I worked, for example, in Asia, I was traveling around there, visiting just for a few days or whatever. But anyway, it's all connected to the mission, of traveling. And worked with UPF, also worked at one point with the Global Peace Festival when I was working in New York with Dr. Walsh. And so this gave me an incredible opportunity to understand the world. Remember, I'm coming from a small farm on the west coast of Ireland. When I was growing up, we didn't have a TV, a telephone, a car. I had to walk to school 2 kilometers across the countryside. And so I could hear about these exotic countries and thinking I'll never end up there. But, life is a funny way of affecting you. And so when I met the church, of course, all that changed. And so I'm very grateful to True Parents for the chance. And it is so good that we can really come together. Like Renee mentioned about the song that you sang, that we are really one family, all in one embrace. I know that the second song you sang this morning is an ancient Irish song, right? Be Thou My Vision. It's very prophetic, isn't it? It's very true what it says, about being like a son of God. That was they were wishing for at that time. And so, anyway, I got the opportunity to, really travel to all these countries and work. And I spent 15 years living in Moscow and traveled to China, as I mentioned, more than 60 times, to every province of China. And, so you really, mind has to broaden, when you experience that. You have to understand different cultures, the good side and the not so good side, and try to really, embrace everybody. That's what it's about. How do you love people from all these different countries. You can't speak their language. Sometimes you can't eat their food because it's tough. I have had the chance to, in China, I must say, to eat a living scorpion. You know what a scorpion is, right? So that was the things we had to do for the kingdom of God, by the way. So because we were the guests of a special chef who used to work in the Chinese embassy in Washington, and he invited us to his restaurant, which was appropriately called the Locust Restaurant. Locusts eat everything. So we had to do the same. And one of the things we had to do was to look in the eyes of a scorpion, and his tail, it looks like he's calling you, come and get me, come and get me. And then you grab him by the tail, and then keeping your lips and your tongue back, bite off the sharp points, and then the poison dissolves, and it becomes some kind of immunity, actually. And then chew and swallow. So I only did it once, and I had no intentions of doing it again. So, and I wouldn't even want to mention some of the things that we ate in the same restaurant. You will never look at certain types of food in the same way. So in China they have a saying, if it flies, crawls, or swims with its back to heaven, you can eat it. That gives humans a way out. We don't crawl on all fours, so unless they eat babies. But anyway, so these are some of the photos I will remember always together with true parents. And I'll just very briefly mention, is this a laser here on top? Laser? Oh, all right. So this is actually the best audience I've ever had singing in Sorak, Korea in 1983. You may not believe that, but that's me standing there. Now, I've changed, okay. And then this is another chance here that was in actually 2012. I was asked by Reverend Song, at that time I was not European leader, asked by Reverend Song on behalf of European members to receive a special kind of an award representing European brothers and sisters. Now this is very special. You can see Father's got his hand holding me. Mother is holding Simon. Simon at that time was national leader of the UK. And we were at the VIP lounge in the London airport. Father then called us, come, let's take a picture. And true parents were sitting on a armless couch, which was only for 2 people. And so there was about that much space, right? And I hunkered down next to Father, because I thought, I can't sit there. And said, no, sit. So I had to scrunch up against Father and hold on to something behind Father. I daren't put my arm around him, but hold on to something. And then he, said, smile. And Simon, likewise, true mother was holding on to Simon so that he wouldn't fall off the edge of that side of the couch. So, and then this is the last physical contact I had with Father, actually, in Yosu in 2011. Father was launching a special boat, and I was invited with other European leaders or other Western leaders to attend in Yosu when we were another meeting in Korea, but we were asked to stay back. And then there was a small group of Western leaders, and we were sitting at the back because of translation. And mostly it was Korean and Japanese leaders. And at one point, in the middle of the Hunduk, by the way, the Hunduk went from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. the next day. It was not in the morning, well, except the second part. And then Father wanted to stretch himself, so he got up and he started walking around, and he was in a jolly mood, and he was punching people with his elbow, and then suddenly he appeared in front of me, and I'm sort of standing there, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. Then Father began to look from my feet, and gradually, I was standing, and Father had become a little shorter in his old age, and his eyes moved up, and then our eyes literally met, But I felt so peaceful. I wasn't thinking, oh my God, he's going to see all my sins, my ancestors' sins, and my ancestors' sins, and he'll think, what a rotter, what are you doing here? No, I felt he's my true parent. my true friend, even. And he grabbed me around the waist. And I thought, what do you do when the Messiah grabs you around the waist? Well, you grab him around the waist. Just hope the security don't jump on you. And then it was this most beautiful moment. The picture was taken, it's not that great quality, it's the old style picture, but my arm is actually around Father's waist. And it was truly an amazing moment. And I thought, I'm looking into the eyes of somebody who went to prison to save me, who was tortured to save me. That's who he is. And I was so grateful that somebody, it was actually that Peruvian sister from Switzerland, I don't know her name, with the son who was on a wheelchair. Goya, that's right, yeah. She was with her camera, she took and then gave me afterwards. And I'm so grateful because it was truly a moment and I felt so free. No barriers. And it was beautiful. So I'm just very grateful that I had that picture that I can show you many years later. And anyway, to bring to a conclusion, last April, Renee and I were among those who were given recognition for 50 plus years of service. And True Mother presented to 5 of those on stage. I'm over here. And received also later the actual plaque. And this plaque, of course, is like, in a way, we talk in English about a bookend, like you have 2 bookends to keep books together. And there are many stories in between. So this is the bookend of 50 plus years. So we're very grateful that True Parents we could receive that. But I know there are many people, including, I'm sure, many of you here, and I can think of many others. Even Jacques Marie and I talked to him. For some reason, he didn't receive, and I don't know why. It was some maybe administrative mix-up. But many people, I see John Brady and Frida and many others here, who surely should be received part of that. But anyway, this is for us. It was a beautiful moment, actually, to have this honor. And we're very grateful. And, so then when we were released from our public responsibility, we had to think about, so what should we do now? And we remembered, of course, Mother said, write your autobiographies. And we were lucky that we were able to sustain ourselves and spend this time. And in my case, especially lucky because of Renee and her amazing skills as an editor. If I wrote it myself, it would be full of grammatical and punctuation issues and all kinds of things. But AI can't keep up with Renee. They can't, So we're very happy that we could present our memoirs, combined memoirs. And, if things go the way they are, we may have to have a reprint and make it available. It's not actually, in a way, our story. It's the story of God and True Parents in our lives. And every one of you has a story. You may think, well, I didn't travel to so many countries. I didn't have so many different missions. You kept the faith. That's a glorious victory. You're still here. Through everything. You should be proud of that. And do not pass out of this world and not tell your story in a way that people can study it and read it, okay?